king's reach did not fare as well. The island has only the roans as a natural defense, and while both the humans and elves made their hold around and on it respectively, there was little choice but to meet Osari's vast forces on the field of battle. Assistance in this came from the Moskag warriors and the Elvonin giants, as well as the enigmatic assassins of the Red Raven. But despite their valor, beautiful Havensong became the last bulwark of defense, with the silent sanctum hidden in the ruins behind. In perhaps the most mournful episode of the entire war, Havensong fell along with the human king Amensor, and the betrayer Osari demanded the entire city be wiped from the plain and carried off. Halting his army from any pursuit into the Roans, Osari personally verified that every last timber, stone, and hinge was removed from the scorched landscape and dropped off the cliffs into the sea miles away. This took 3 days, and it was not until the effort was finished did he march on the sanctum. Rainfall hosted the most brutal fighting. At first, there was something of a valiant return to victory for the ogres. The legendary army of Broken Maw attacked the Revenant in their own camps as they marshaled on the banks of the frigid Northlands. After this ambush, the Dark Mere waited patiently beneath the icy surface for an armada of Revenant transports and set upon them with murderous glee, sinking, burning, and climbing on the decks of the silent convoy as it passed through the night. So fierce was their zeal that the ogres assembled on the shoreline, expecting some ships to pass through, watched in astonishment until their allies finished the fight. Not a ship survived. It seemed an easy victory, which under normal terms would have perhaps granted these two members a total triumph, which they likely would not have announced to the remaining 4. Yet this was the army of the Ravaging Lord, and their only terms were his own. He unbound ancient monsters of the deep against the Darkmere, and soon their unparalleled advantage was forfeit. According to the ogres, he enticed the hounds of Woshay to assault Broken Maw from the north, while a revenant force marched up from the desert of Kaga in the south. The Woshay vehemently refutes this account, which became the initiator of the 7th and 12th war between the two nations. Unable to defend the twin or lone assaults, the ogres withdrew across Rainfall to Karkelar and the Burning Sanctum. Thus, Etero's long-standing prophecy was becoming manifest with each scorching victory. In 484, Havensong fell. Relsirin of the Archive was slain after sealing himself outside the door of the Frozen Sanctum, and the Ravaging Lord found a means to stop the magma moat flowing around the Burning Sanctum. It seemed that midnight was drawing nigh. Yet the sons of Janavi's vision would rise, and with them came a morning which broke the Revenant into utter chaos. These 6 sons of Terminus were warriors of godlike power, physical might, and arcane discipline, one from each pantheon of the sacred. More commonly called war wizards, they are most easily described as high mortal beings of nearly pure supernatural ability. I confess their existence is contested by some today, so strange is their origin and decisive was their merit. With no warning of any kind, the dual terrors set upon the Revenant High Mortals with furious precision. Hythis Krevgile fled before her assailants, and is since so rarely seen she is thought perished. True to his namesake, Osari raged in ferocity and managed to wound one of the war wizards. But his might could not overcome the relentless heroes, and he fell dead on the very earth he had wiped Havensong from, as if he had merely prepared his own grave. The Ravaging Lord himself was not so easily countered. In a turn that should have given the 6 great pause, he chose not to face the war wizards, smiting loose his grip on Rainfall. While his twin armies on Kingsreach and Whitethall were reeling, he withdrew to the volcanic Mount Kadrihor in the north. Now utterly leaderless, the Revenant and their allies were chased off each continent, save for the Lord and his army teeming in the Volcano Foundry. In these conflicts, Avendir, the young heir to Amansol's throne, showed himself a leader of battlefront fearlessness. In 485, he and Kazas led the armies of the Six, and with the Six Sons of Terminus they marched on Kadrihor as one host, intent on extinguishing the Black Flame forever. Yet even in this short time, the Ravaging Lord had grown in power and depravity. Too slowly it was understood that he cared not who survived, setting loose rivers of molten ore across the jagged terrain of Kadrihor once the armies had entered it. The forces of the Six were divided and trapped, easily ensnared by the expectant Revenant. Yet with their supernatural fervency, two of the war wizards moved directly to the Ravaging Lord, knowing his death would avail all threats. But after a furious melee, one lay dead, while the second was in desperate peril. Yet these were not all the mighty warriors to arrive on that day of days. Suddenly the earth shook, and one side of the volcano burst forth in thunder and spray. Out from the rupture flew Rok'Nhilthamos, the rain-born dragon, whose dominion was over this very continent. Setting herself between the Ravaging Lord and the sun, she clutched the pillar Ka that towered in the middle of the battlefield and roared a declaration. Rok'Nhilthamos blew thick flames over the two armies without regard for division. Her fury was awesome, yet before she could face either warrior, the Ravaging King made his final move. With every malevolent fiber of strength, he impaled the head of the beast upon the pillar Ka, even as she loosed billows of fire. This moment was only surpassed by the next, to which I relent my narration in favor of an actual witness, the human signal-bearer, Marthos Bosomir. After this, an even more deafening roar erupted, shaking the foundations of the planet and silencing the entire war on all of its lingering fronts. In this quiet, only the immeasurable wings of yet one more beast were heard as they dipped below the ceiling of clouds that hazed over the battlefield, miles above us. This was the Dragon King, Rok'Nhilthamos. In a flash, his monstrous head pierced the clouds of storm and ash. He crushed the Ravaging Lord in his mouth, but gently enough to flip his pierced body into the air, incinerating it with a blast of molten flame. Rok'Nhilthamos lifted his wings but once, then the entire veil of cloud dispersed. His size was peerless, yet his form and color were majestic beyond compare. I knew him to be the king of beasts, but there I saw it. His claws dug into the peaks of the mountain range, and it dawned with clarity that he was about to act further. Even as our armies attempted to flee, the Dragon King drew in a massive breath to scorch all he surveyed in flame. Yet there was a crack and roll of thunder across the sky. A small glint catches in the pool of Rok'Nhilthamos' eye, and the colossal dragon hesitates. Faster than his lid can blink, a creature like no other I had seen, though small in comparison, with one hand closed over the mouth of the Dragon King. There was a howling from one corner of the battlefield, but I could not tear my eye away from the sight above. Hovering thousands of feet in the air, it speaks.
Blood for blood, King. There is no breach.
The Dragon King's growl reverberated as he replied in kind.
Blood for grace, emissary. Yet, in the future, there will only be blood.
Drawing the clouds over his ascent, Rok'Nhilthamos soared into the skies, cast one shadow over all the scattered armies, and forever disappeared. The creature that stopped his anger and saved us all was never seen again. Such was the end of the Deicide War.